And we are live with stuff doing. There might be a gap in my recording here because this is not the campaign. We will be starting the campaign shortly. But this is a little side thing I've been wanting to do with actual people. I tried doing it on my own with a random generator, and it took an hour, and it should take less than 20 minutes. This is basically how you or anybody else can homebrew a campaign pretty easily and have it be player focused and just not that complicated or hard to keep track of. I know for me, pre-written modules are very hard to keep track of the ins and outs and bits and bobs that are happening, and also they're just not really tied to what your characters want to do. So when somebody comes to you with the Warforged Druid named Pants, that is part of a 5 Warforged piece set that when they all come together they make a Voltron, you can make that part of the campaign world instead of like a weird side note in your Strahd campaign. I just pitched a campaign off the top of my head, and it sounds amazing if everyone wants to play Warforged.
I want
shoes,
that
shirts.
I want that in Curse of Strahd now. I want to play a Warforged named Pants.
Definitely a divergence from the set tone. So here's what you do. We set up people. Is this pen gonna work for once? Oh wait, I have to set the pen to an actual visible thickness at this amount. So you basically take people and you say, okay, what is your point of origin? So for someone who was pirate, there might be a particular island which is surrounded by water, and so that would be a very simple thing for them to declare. But if they were, say, a dwarf from a mountain, and they would have to say well, what's to the east of that mountain, to the north of that mountain, south of the mountain, west of the mountain, so forth. Surrounding topography. Once you have that, you can take all these things and just move them onto a map. And so then you'll have, well, your point was here, their point's there, and their point's there. They've got mountains, and then they've got mountains on those sides. So you just make this all one mountain range and just basically tie those two together by having that topography make sense. And you got this other person has oh, well, there's a river that runs across. You're all right, well then there you go. And then soon enough you've got your map of what's happening. Likewise, each person would have their foe and their friend, just little NPCs that they know of. And then you can do the same kind of thing. So you'd have a friend and a foe, you'd have a friend and a foe, and then you can just sort of tie you could have a relationship also tied to their friend, and then you two are kind of related in the story. Your foe
friend
could have screwed over
foe.
their friend, and so now these two have a connection to each other. And so now all of your players' characters are connected to each other. You, as a DM, have this wider world to draw from for story stuff. And then you pretty much have a campaign made collaboratively with your other players in 15, 20 minutes, something like that. And you'd be all set, ready to go.
You do need the big overarching plot.
Nope, you don't need jack. You can, but a lot of times it is much easier to fill in those bigger elements later as they come up. So I see a lot of people that make worlds for their D&D games try to start big of what is my pantheon? I'm like, man, what are the dozen gods that you're going to try to make up lore and rules for versus this,
I feel called out.
Let's say Tay was I want to play a life cleric. I don't know why Tay would ever play a life cleric.
Tay doesn't play clerics.
Seem...
I'm an agent of chaos.
Yes, an agent of chaos, forced to play a lawful good life cleric. Sounds amazing.
I actually am playing a lawful good halfling rogue who is multi-classed as a nature cleric.
Nice. Would make a lot of sense. But like what? So let's say I need to know stuff about this nature god. So now it's come up. So now I need to like plug stuff into the world that kind of makes sense. In order for that, but you don't need a world to start your D&D campaign. I think Matt Mercer himself has gone on stuff saying that Exandria was started as like a town, and then it just built up out of that. And as things were needed, added to it, and eventually they get this whole world built out that has spawned plenty of stuff. So no, nay, I say unto thee, you do not need huge, overarching everything to then try to fit everything into. You can just kind of make your big, overarching things pop up.
Okay. I'll remember that for next time I start a campaign.
It's one of those like, oh no, I need to go make this novel, and I'm like, you don't. And
it's because world building is something that I really enjoy.
Right.
Is the thing.
The problem I have is about half the time that I hear someone say they really love world building, what they mean is they obsessively, compulsively world build, and it makes them miserable. That is more often than not, over 50%, I would say, it's the latter.
Shut up.
I didn't even know that applied to Umbra here. I just said awesome. It based off other people, and then Umbra made a face that made my point entirely valid.
I like building my world, like you were saying, off of my characters.
Yes.
Like, right now, I am doing Wildmount, because none of my group has watched Critical Role.
Sure.
So, you know what? I have this world that's already there for me.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm doing is I'm not really focusing on that main... Like, obviously, I'm focusing on the main story and the main arc and, like, all of that. But primarily, I'm focusing on my characters and where they're from and where their stories tie together and how I can fuck them all over by twisting up their backstories.
Right. So, oh man, it'd be a great visual aid if my books were more organized. So, the both the Wildmount and the Tal'Dorei campaign settings are just masterclasses in world building. Even if you're not going to play in those settings, reading through them and like how the lore makes a lot of sense and all that is just like it's delicious. It's just wonderful to go through and all that. But at the same time, what I would say to people, especially newer DMs, old school DMs, people who've only played campaigns, like pre-made campaign settings or pre-made campaigns, it's not as hard as some people are making it out to be, and it's not as time consuming as people are making it out to be to make a good homebrewed basic setting for just that specific to your party and your players. For example, does anybody have like a friend or a foe that they would have for their character? Umbra's up first to no one's surprise.
Do I have to specify like where they're from?
Not really.
Okay. A Circle of Spores elf druid.
Ooh. Spores elf druid. Is like the character?
Yes.
Cool. And then your your friend and your foe. When I've done this before, it's like my friend is the weaponsmith and my foe is this charlatan who goes like from town to town, like betting people and then like absconding in the middle of the night. And they did that to my friend who runs this weapons shop and makes all my cool custom weapons gear. So now I'm on a mission to go hunt this guy down and be like, hey, you gotta stay and say goodbye. You can't just be like disappearing in the middle of the night.
Hey,
yeah,
I'm gonna beat the shit out of you.
Right, I'm gonna punch you now because you were messing with my friend.
Use the big fuck off hammer.
Yeah. So you got a friend or a foe that we can plug in there?
A foe
or a friend. Just a character in the world. Doesn't it? Not a heroic class or anything. Just like, a merchant.
Or... a pyromancer wizard that burnt their spore. They live in like a mushroom village, where like everything's made of mushrooms.
Fire mage. Burnt. Oh man, I can't spell with this thing for some reason. I can't spell in general. I don't know why I'm making it a thing. Burnt Mushroom Village.
Yes. And for friend, the Human Ranger.
Again, you don't need heroic classes for NPC
No,
characters.
Not the class, like the profession.
Gotcha. Yeah,
Like
we'll put,
kind of like more like a map maker.
yeah, one who ranges. So
Yes.
the Human Ranger, who's just like, oh yeah, that sucks, Druid Bud, and the Fire Mage of, I like the idea of there being a short-lived relationship idea where it's like, this is my friend, he's gonna die in like a fraction of my lifetime, but still good dude, and then hunting down this Fire Mage that's just burning areas down.
Immortality sucks.
I'd take it. Tay.
I wouldn't.
I would. You don't know me.
Oh yeah, because like if you had immortality, you could fuck over so many people.
What?
It'd be funny.
I don't know why I got this reputation of chaos, but Tay.
You're muted.
Oh no.
Ah.
You're not frozen though. That's just a thing on my screen. There we go.
Friend. A Furbolg barbarian whose parents are like super duper nice, but they're just mad all the time.
So just an angry. So is that like a character or like the friend?
The friend.
The friend.
An angry Furbolg.
Furbolg Rage Warrior.
Yes.
Nice
Angie boy.
parents.
Angie boy with like sweetheart parents.
Nice parents. And then a foe.
A orcish wizard who burns down forests to help colonize.
I'm just gonna put that guy.
Ah. Ah.
It's an orc
A white
mage that
I'm
man.
burns
not gonna
stuff down.
lie, I was only half paying attention.
Right. Well,
Wait.
and step 3 is to tie these things together. So it
Yeah.
could be
Hey.
that
Hey.
I like the idea of Spore's elf druid just knows there's a fire mage, doesn't know the identity or anything. But then your character also knows of an orc mage or of a mage who has that burn stuff down for new settlements kind of thing. And then it's one of those like, is this the same guy? We should be hunting him down together. And now your two characters have a link of like a shared purpose, and a reason to be adventuring together. Is you both have like, we need to go find this guy, and yeah, do stuff and things. Do you have a
Oh, I
character?
do need to do me too, don't I?
Oh yeah,
Uh,
the character.
Furbolg druid. New
Lots
mom.
of druids.
Furbolg druid, new mom. New mom.
That, I mean, Fearbolgs don't have names, so that's what the party could just refer to them as.
New mom.
New mom.
Furbolg druid, new mom.
Okay, when you said a mage that burns down forests for settlements, in my mind I was just like, a white man.
This is actually based off of a character that I am actually playing currently. Yeah.
Chris, you got any of these elements?
I think like the minute that you connected the orc mage to the fire mage thing, I kind of was like, what if my friend was this mage person? And I'm joining in on this party to like make sure they don't find him, or maybe like I'm looking for him myself.
Oh, Saboteur!
Are
I
they
love that.
then-
I thought it was like, that'd be funny.
I do love that. There's and then it could be like, well, no, my friend's a good guy. He does do fire magic, and he is an
Is
orc.
he?
And then it's one of those like you have that inter-party conflict of like everybody's like, we're gonna find this guy and we're gonna kill him with fire, maybe. and then you're just like, well, I mean, we need
either
to
I will
find
learn
him.
that this guy does suck,
Right.
or I'll have to go. But
Right.
Everyone just slowly turns to your character, just the fuck?
But there's also like, you have heard rumors of this evil orc mage who's burning down people's villages, and then you're like, well, I need to go find them to see if this is my friend, because it's not like you don't have cell phones, you don't know, like you can't just be like, hey Mark, are you fucking around with these villages? That's my name now for every orc mage that uses fire. It's now Mark.
Mark.
I give him a Boston
Mark.
accent. Do you have a foe in
Marcus?
mind?
I don't know. Maybe. See, both of your foes are just like that mage
Who's a
guy.
random person too. Just a
Yeah,
not
he's a
every,
random
like-
person, just like
Classic.
dude.
sorry, what now?
I don't know, from like maybe someone like, yeah, human dude that like grew up in the village or something that I just like cannot stand. Not even like a foe, just like I hate this guy.
Just a human douche.
Yeah. Why are you here?
That's his profession, is human douche.
Is that what they're calling prostitutes now?
I haven't
And
had
part of me wants to be like, should we be an all druid team now, or
the pure druids. I could see someone non-druid who's like trying to wrangle these two druids.
Just these two chaotic beings.
Oh, you know, what'd be funny is like an artificer, like the
Ooh.
artificer with these two druids, and it's like, let's not use metal. And he's like, well, they come in with like their inventions and stuff, and
on all aspects, I am against you too.
yeah,
Just like they grab, like the artificer grabs one of the druids, just like stay there. They just turn into a ferret and slip away.
right.
Goodbye. Ferrets are fucking bastards.
Okay, so any character ideas? Be totally random. We're just plugging stuff in for a hypothetical campaign.
Other characters.
For Chris? No?
Oh, for Chris. Either actress for idea was fun, but off the like paladin character.
Paladin.
If I'm hearing like news or about the evil guy, and I'm thinking it's my friend, I feel like there's like something
Bonk.
Nice.
like noble and like something there that's like I have a duty to do this.
Right. Yeah, so a paladin of some kind of like, well, I need to hunt down this evil person, and if it's my friend, I need to deal with the fact that it's my friend. Yeah, puts you right in line with the need to like hunt down this person. And there is that sort of nature-y paladin as one of the options too, so there's a subclass that fits with hanging out with a bunch of druids.
Oath of the Ancients?
Yeah, Ancients Paladin
Yeah.
fits right in with a couple of druids. But yeah,
I have a note.
so we would just need locations and surrounding topography.
Remnants of the Spore Village.
Right. So we'll call it Sporington.
Sporesville.
Funguston.
Spores.
Like Snoresville.
No, no.
Sporzin. Sporzin.
Funguston.
It's Sporzin.
I did not steal
Too
Funguston.
hard to write down or to erase. So Sporzin. What's around Sporzin? I mean, now Sporzin's on fire. Or it's just like ruined.
It was Sporzin. Now it's a crater.
Yep. Sporzin burnt down. What's around Sporzin? Like, what's to the south?
A river that leads to a port town.
So just a river. Okay. So there's a river to the south.
Yes.
To the west.
Someone else go.
We're just listing topography. It's literally just like land features. Anybody else have a origin town? name?
Mountain where like maybe like that's like the ice can run into the river and that's where it's going.
Cool. So you are from a mountain, and you have like glaciers on one side.
Yeah. Maybe that's why the fire was so important.
They were very important there because you're in a mountain with like glaciers to the west that make a river to the south, and then to the north, ocean maybe.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
maybe.
be kind of just north is just like ocean, and then to the east, more mountain or
Big,
range or well, we're
a
talking about
big
Chris's.
city.
So for Chris's, to what would be to the east of your like origin city?
I want to say we would be like, maybe we would be near, would this be like, I kind of wanted to be like a smaller a city or village in like close to the mountain or something, and then
Like
maybe there's
another...
a near closer to, yeah, and closer to like a bigger one where this mage dude would have gone to and like learned more, like near a city with an academy or something.
Okay, so just like there's like a mage tower or something.
Yeah.
Cool. We can do that. Mage tower. Neat. So we've got that. And so any other features around Sporzen besides just the river to the south?
A spooky forest to the east.
East spooky forest.
Like that forest, definitely haunted.
A spooky forest with ghosts. Ooh, I'm a ghost. And like to the north.
A canyon.
Canyon. Random canyon.
That almost looks like it's a cut in the ground rather than like...
Cool. Canyon. This is now my official quick draw for canyon because it's never come up before. And then to the west.
Sporzen?
West of Sporzen.
A lake.
A lake.
A massive lake.
A massive lake. Cool. Now, Tay, where's this?
I'm in a forest that is slowly beginning to be leveled by surrounding villages and cities.
Okay, so you're the forest surrounded by villages and things.
Yes.
Cool. And we'll just do... Nope, that's for mountain. So, like, village to the north.
Villages, cities, like maybe one of them's the capital, like, that are just slowly starting to close in and destroy this forest.
So it's just surrounded by various sized villages. Okay. So, here's what you can do. You take your... I'm doing this in the illustrious Microsoft Paint. I don't know if you've heard of it. So, there is a river from glaciers up in a mountain, so we'll put that kind of up here. We'll take the Sporzen area and kind of move it over here, and we can take the river from the glacier and have it feed into the lake. And then we can grab the village surrounded forest and kind of put that off to... Oh, that's off grid. Villages and cities often border lakes and things, so we kind of put that over here. I can just actually make this transparent so I can move it in a little closer. So we'll put like big city and village kind of near and on the lake. And then we'll just do this one thing where I select it all and put it actually in view. There we go. And fill in some details. So we've got sort of our border up here going into ocean. I like that the canyon probably goes towards the ocean, even if like whatever water source is dried up. And we have sort of our land mass we can kind of work with. The river going through. And so then we would just fill in details as needed, where it's like, what's the name of this fishing village here? And then what's the name of this capital city that's at the junction where the river comes out of the lake? What's this little village here? What's this little village over here? What was the name of this forest that's being crushed by all this development as things are getting destroyed? We didn't technically get the name of the mountain village either, but, you know, easy enough to random name generator or just think of something that works. I like sometimes use translators if I'm like, what was it? My wife wanted to make a, or she mentioned the idea of a Philippines-inspired witch, so I just Google translated Tagalog for witch, and that was just like, Bruja, okay, let's make it Briha, there we go, that's the witch's name, cool, and just go from there. So that's something I like to do, is like, if you have a cultural influence on something, you can just Google translate stuff. But we now have, in 20 minutes? How long is this recording on? I think about 20 minutes. In about 20 minutes, we have a campaign setting. We have an overarching adventure where our paladin is wondering if their friend, an orc mage, to be named later, again, probably with random generators, if not just thought of, we call him Mark, has heard of another destructive orc mage and is investigating this person, which has caused them to link up with a Furbolg druid, who has also linked up with an elven druid, who is on a bit of a revenge mission against the fire mage that burnt down their village. And so we now have an overarching campaign and a campaign map, and then we're just a couple of basically where are we starting and going into adventures and stuff from there. So it would be like, okay, well, we will begin in this major city where our Furbolg druid is trying to find ways to restrict the expansion of the city going into the forest, and is looking for people to link up to, as well as trying to track down this destructive orc mage who's been burning down swaths of the forest in order to make room for the settlements. Everyone can essentially meet in a tavern and then go from there in classic D&D style and just be like, all right, wait, who's this mage you were talking about with the people you're getting a drink with? I'm also looking for a mage. And it's like, I overheard that as well. Who's this mage you're talking about? And now as the DM, you just have to, all you need is the adventure hook relating to the mage.